Hello, 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 hello. Jordan Sheridan here. Wonderful Saturday here in New York City. Normally don't come to you on the weekends, but there's a story I'm covering that I wanted to update you on. Let me wait just a second for YouTube to join us. Okay, looks like we're live on YouTube. Let me confirm that here. Here we go. So I'll wait just a little bit for a couple more viewers here. You could hear the lovely sirens here in New York City in my non-soundproof studio here. So you get all the bells and whistles of lack of soundproof. Sorry about that. Definitely press the share button to get this out to more people. So everybody knows what's going on with what I think is a very, very important story. There is a protest that's been going on in Virginia, about 20 minutes from Roanoke, and it's been going on for a few weeks now. It's a mother and a daughter who are climbed up atop their trees. It's two different trees, and they have climbed up the trees on their property, because they're trying to stop the Mountain Valley natural gas pipeline from basically going through their land. Like so many other cases in the country, eminent domain is being used to seize Americans' property and put pipelines through basically their backyards. So Red Terry and Minor Terry, Red is the mother, Minor is the daughter. They have been protesting atop their trees for over 4 weeks now, and it's developed a mini little community down there. There's yellow tape around where they're protesting, where the police are standing, but many activists and neighbors have come. Many are camping out right near them, basically to support them in protest. So right around there's dozens and dozens, I'm not there yet, but I hear dozens and dozens of people camping out to show solidarity with the tree protesters, because essentially for this pipeline to go through their backyard, they're cutting down so many trees in the forest, and these trees are on their property, and they don't want the natural gas pipeline going through their property. So I've done a few videos on this earlier in the week, and this morning I spoke with the father and the husband, the father of Red Terry, the husband of Red Terry, and the daughter of Red Terry. I'm going to play that in a minute, but I wanted to update you that yesterday a judge ruled the mother and the daughter in contempt of court. Share this video. Let's get it out to more people. Didn't expect a huge audience on a Saturday afternoon, but yesterday a judge found them in contempt of court. So I'm going to read that to you so you know what's going on here. Give me 1 second. Well, that's me. You don't want that. Let's bring you to the article here. Judge finds Red Terry and her daughter in contempt for tree sit protests of pipeline. A judge has given a mother and daughter until midnight Saturday, so that was this morning, to come down from two trees where they have been blocking construction of the Mountain Valley pipeline. In an opinion released late Friday afternoon, U.S. District Court Judge Elizabeth Dillon found 61-year-old Teresa Red Terry and her daughter, a 30-year-old Teresa Minor Terry, in contempt of a court order that granted the pipeline company access to their family's land on Bent Mountain. Should the Terrys come down voluntarily from two tree stands they have occupied since early April, the women would not be fined, although Roanoke County Police would likely be waiting to charge them with trespassing, obstruction of justice, and interfering with the property rights of Mountain Valley. So let's get that straight for a minute. They would be charged with trespassing on their own property. Do you understand how bizarre and ridiculous that is? They are protesting atop trees on their property. The judge, in a very, very hushed, not a very formal or safe process, just rushed eminent domain through, giving the pipeline company basically the property rights. But usually eminent domain, there's a process that goes through, but the judge, because judges let oil companies do whatever the hell they want, and the judges are bought off just like the politicians, the judge very quickly, just like in a mad dash, rushed the eminent domain process through. So technically they're trespassing on their property, the mother and the daughter. Okay. Should the Terrys could come down voluntarily and meet no fines, but Roanoke County Police would likely be waiting to charge them with trespassing, obstruction of justice, and interfering with the property rights of Mountain Valley. But if the protesters stick to their stands, they will face fines of $1,000 a day, the judge ruled. The judge also set a second deadline. If either one of the women remains up a tree after midnight on Thursday, Dillon will authorize the U.S. Marshals to arrest them. Details on how that might be accomplished would be outlined in an additional order. Several weeks after the Terrys took to the trees, Mountain Valley asked that they be held in contempt for violating one of Dillon's earlier orders, which gave the company, through eminent domain, a forced easement to run its natural gas pipeline through their land. The Terrys' resistance was one of 4 similar protests along the approximately 100-mile route the pipeline will take through southwest Virginia. Quote, the Terrys and many of their supporters have expressed their belief that the MVP project is ill-advised and a threat to their land and the area's water supplies, Dillon wrote. But regulatory agencies and courts have found in Mountain Valley's favor. Mountain Valley is the pipeline company. The court understands that the Terrys and others are disappointed and frustrated with the situation, Dillon wrote, but the Terrys have resorted to actions that clearly violate the court's orders and MVP's rights under it. Even if their conduct is viewed as a form of civil disobedience intended to focus the public's attention or to express their opposition to the project, those who disobey valid orders of a court should be prepared to face the consequences of doing so. Dillon also found John Coles Terry, the husband and father of the 2 tree sitters, in contempt for supporting them. He will be fined $2,000. So, I mean, I'm going to play the interview with the husband. I spoke with him this morning. But think about how ridiculous and just inhumane this is. Now, it's all you hear about from this judge is the oil company's rights. Well, what about the mother and the daughter's rights? What about the father and the husband's rights? What about the fact that this property has been passed down through the husband's side for 4 centuries as a gift from General George Washington? General George Washington gave it to a fellow general in as celebration and appreciation of his battle in the Revolutionary War. So this was handed down from General George Washington. You ever hear of him? First president of the United States? But hey, the oil company's rights, So to me, the mother and the daughter are very, very brave. It might sound like nothing, but like sitting atop a tree for 4 weeks without moving, you're probably really stiff. The daughter has been begging for sunscreen because she doesn't have much to cover her and it's been getting hot during the day. The police won't give it. The police also won't provide them with food that has been donated from all over the community. Around the trees that they're protesting are dozens and dozens and dozens of activists, residents. Some are camping out to show solidarity. So this is, yes, it's happening in Virginia near Roanoke, but this is a real symbol of what's happening all across the country. Basically, FERC, the Federal Energy Regulation Commission, I believe, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC, essentially approves any pipeline. Doesn't even matter how many times those pipelines leak before even being operational. FERC, you want a pipeline? You got it. You want to take American citizens' land? You got it. Progressive homeowners, conservative homeowners, doesn't matter. So please press the share button so we get this to more people. I know it's Saturday. Before I play the interview with the husband, there is an update at 4 o'clock Eastern, so a little under 3 hours from now. The family will be making a statement. So basically, midnight Saturday was 12 o'clock this morning. They did not come down from the trees, so the clock is kind of ticking now. the judge said they're going to be fined $1,000 every single day they stay up there. And the judge said if they don't come down by midnight Thursday, they are going to have U.S. Marshals go up and get them. So 4 o'clock Eastern, the family is going to be making a statement. I will give you an update as soon as I know what that is. Obviously, my assumption is they're going to be making a statement on whether they intend to stay up there or come down. I plan on going down there. Obviously, it would be more of a story if they stay up there. But either way, I plan on going down there because there are other tree protests going on to stop this pipeline. So without further ado, please share this video. Let me play an interview with the husband. His name is John Coles Terry. To get an idea from you now with the contempt of court, what your wife and daughter plan on doing. Are they going to stay up there till Thursday? And anything else you want to tell me?
They're making their minds up. They're going to do a little press conference today around 4 and kind of just tell everybody what their plans are.
Okay.
They haven't had a chance to talk to each other, and they don't have much of an opportunity to do that because they're too far apart.
Right.
But to yell at each other. And
so how are they planning on having a press conference if they're up there?
Well, the press can stand down below them,
okay.
both sides can talk to them.
Okay.
And everything, and they can talk to people. That's how we talk to them. It's just standing down there at the police tank.
Gotcha.
And,
gotcha. And
yeah.
what are your thoughts on the judge's ruling?
I think it was. It's kind of what I was expecting. You know, she hadn't shown any kind of real consideration for the landowners yet, and I didn't expect her to do it this time. You know, it's all about, and I understand. You know, I guess it's just the way I interpret what somebody says and the way she interprets what somebody says. You know, and
let me ask you broader. Obviously, this is a natural gas pipeline. A lot of environmentalists say it's not so natural. If there's an explosion,
I'm dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And not just me. I mean, there are a lot of people there's people at this pipeline even closer to their house than mine. That you know, if this thing were to blow, they're gone. Your house is gone. If you're within a certain, you know, basically a half-mile radius, you're in the fireball. And outside that, for like another 2.5, you're still in the blast zone because the concussion, the shockwave will kill you.
Right. And can you kind of talk about what the toll on your family this has taken? I understand they cut down a 200-year apple orchard on your property.
Yes, sir. Well, about 150-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, they cut it down. Not just mine. They've done it to other people. You know, just come through and I feel like this whole thing is, you know, we were told the pipeline was coming through, and you know, whether we wanted it or not. So it's just been rammed down our throats. Not just, like I said, not just for me, but for a great many people on the pipeline route. You know, when you've got to take Virginia, when you've got to take 202 people to court suing eminent domain, that tells me that, you know, you got that many landowners that weren't happy with what was going on.
Right. And it seems like, I might be misunderstanding it, but the judge seemed to just grant them eminent domain in a very rushed, not normal process.
It seemed to me like it was, yes. I mean, I'm not a lawyer by any means, but it seemed like, you know, they came in, they sued us for eminent domain because they said they had to get in there by the 1st of February and be done cutting as many trees as they could by March 31st because of the bats and migratory birds. And I realized that, and then they would have to stop cutting and then come back mid-November and finish cutting. But apparently, you know, that it was, and we were told, you know, it was 25-mile stretch, but they weren't, since they were outside the time frame to do netting and misting for bats, they had to assume it was on like a 75-mile stretch. But then all of a sudden, just after March 31st, it was this, we've already cut all those trees.
Right.
So it's no big deal. We can continue to cut, and we're okay.
Mm-hmm.
But, that wasn't what was, said in court. That wasn't what was told to all of us, basically.
Right.
We were kind of all counting on them stopping the cut on the 31st, and then we could continue our protest, with the DEQ, the Water Control Board, and other avenues.
And
which we're still doing that too. That's ongoing.
And what are your thoughts on the governor? I mean, he's said to be.
Well, the fact that he called my wife a criminal because she was sitting in her own tree protesting something she didn't want, didn't think was necessary, and peacefully, for that matter. And I thought that was still guaranteed to be under the Constitution, but I guess not.
Right. And it seems very strange to me that, the police, they're given kind of lip service about your wife and your daughter's right to protest, but they won't allow them donations of food. I'm told that they won't allow sunscreen to your daughter.
No, sir. No.
Yeah.
They've asked for like a baby. They were told to ask for a baby aspirin because they're inactive for the most part.
Yeah.
So they were told to ask for a baby aspirin every day, and that was denied. It was told it was outside their league, out of their league.
Mm-hmm.
They've been denied. My daughter, has been denied sunscreen. They did, when they first cordoned them off, they cut off all food, water, any kind of supplies to them. They did, after about a week or so, finally start feeding them. And we're getting 2 bologna sandwiches 3 times a day and a bottle of water.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's bologna. I won't swear to it. They tell me it is, but I haven't seen it. And then, of course, it's just, we're still not allowed to give them anything, do anything for them. They allowed me to give them toilet paper one time, but that was it.
Right. And this is my thoughts, but, the governor, he's taken $50,000 from EQT. He's taken $200,000 from Dominion Energy during his campaign. Do you have any thoughts on, he's taken this money and it seems that he's looking the other way for the oil companies?
Well, I'm not going to say the man was bought because that would be, just unfair to him. I think he accepts campaign contributions from a lot of people. So, and a lot of interest groups. But it does kind of strike a chord that, hey, they give you money and he turns a blind eye. So,
right.
What would you think?
Right. And my last question, I've covered this. I was in Texas. They were seizing land via eminent domain of pretty conservative people that traditionally are very, pro fossil fuels and oil. They're doing this all over the country where essentially the oil companies are just not without much of a process or scrutiny getting people's property.
From the way I see it, is of course they're operating under what I've been told. They're operating under the National Gas Act of 1940, which I think was put into effect or voted in because they knew we were going to go to war. And they needed to make sure we could get propane where we needed it during that time period.
Mm-hmm.
But that law is still on the books.
Right.
And it's a bad law. It needs to be off the books. But I don't know how you get a law off the books without Congress doing it.
Right.
And when they came in and wanted my property up here, basically quick take, where they don't have a easement signed by me or other people, that allows them to come in and they just make a deposit they determine a certain amount, that money is deposited with the court, and they can come in. And that's not supposed to be, that under that law, even under that law, that's not supposed to happen. But apparently it can.
Right, right.
So it's just kind of infuriating when it really hurts your opinion of judicial system and the government and everything else that we thought were going to be for us. And, apparently that's not the way it is now.
And real quick, can you just tell me a little bit about your wife and daughter? What kind of people are they? And
they are both very great people. They're both big-hearted. They will do anything for you. They've made a lot of. You can tell by their supporters here. You can tell by the people that have come in and my neighbors, friends who've shown up and just want to help support them. And they know them. It's a big community up here. Not a big community, but it's a very tight community.
Mm-hmm.
And they're good-hearted people.
Great. Thank you, sir.
There you have it. That's the husband, John Coles is his name, John Coles Terry. And what's interesting is, for example, his wife and daughter are protesting at two different trees. And as far as I know, he doesn't know what they're going to be doing ahead of time. So the 4 o'clock statement that the daughter and the mother are going to make, to my knowledge, the husband's going to be learning what they want to do then too. So presumably the mother and daughter will be announcing around 4 o'clock if they plan on ignoring the contempt of court order and staying up there until they're taken down, or if they plan on coming down. Obviously, $1,000 fine a day is not a small amount. So we'll see what they do around 4 o'clock. But one thing that I found particularly noteworthy is, he sounds like a really good-hearted man. He sounds like he, believes in the rule of law and what America's supposed to stand for. But when you heard him say, I thought the Constitution, allows what my wife and daughter are doing, but I guess not. It's that kind of talk. More and more people are kind of waking up to the country that this has become. It's not a republic. It's not a democracy. It's a fascist oligarchy. We're becoming a country that essentially, because the oil companies buy off the politicians, and because most of our wars have been over oil, we essentially give carte blanche to oil companies to ravage our nature, destroy our land, destroy our water, pollute our air. And when they say, well, we need X amount of homeowners' land to put the pipeline through, we need to cut down X amount of trees. You know what FERC says? You know what the state environmental agencies say? You know who the governors say? Well, let me check with my accountant to see how much money you left in my campaign. They check. Oh, well, Dominion Energy gave the governor of Virginia $200,000 during his campaign in 2017. The same governor, Ralph Northam, who Tom Perez and the Democratic National Committee, I got a gazillion fundraising emails. We got to get Ralph Northam elected in Virginia. Got to get this progressive elected in Virginia. Well, how's that working out? Ralph Northam has taken $50,000 from the direct parent company of the Mountain Valley Pipeline, EQT. He's also taken $200,000 from Dominion Energy, which is the part owner of another pipeline. It's kind of like a brother and sister pipeline going the same direction of the Atlantic pipeline. So who is Ralph Northam representing? The people and the planet, or the oil companies? Dingo, my baby. Jordan, find out if the judge is elected. Domingo, I'm way ahead of you, baby. Way ahead of you. I shouldn't say baby. I don't know if you're a guy or a girl. But yes, I'm looking into the judge, trust me. Because most judges get money. Most judges get money. So, and generally judges rule on the side of corporations and oil companies because judges get reelected and they get money to their campaigns. So I am going to look into that judge for sure. But what's so troubling here, you know, first of all, I know my favorite troll, Jerry Ross, is here. You know, natural gas pipelines, they don't do anything to the environment. Yeah? Well, how about this natural gas pipeline, Jerry? Here we go. Sunoco halts drilling in Chester County. Sunoco halts drilling in Chester County where pipeline construction damaged drinking water wells. This is from July of last year. Sunoco has agreed to halt drilling operations related to the Mariner East 2 pipeline construction in Chester County, where 15 households have been without water for the past couple of weeks due to the aquifer intrusion by horizontal directional drilling. The West Whiteland Township residents who rely on private drinking water wells have experienced cloudy water or loss of water completely. More than 100 community members gathered at the West Whiteland Township building on Thursday night to discuss the situation with both Township and Sunoco officials. Township Supervisor George Turner told the gathering that the company agreed to suspend drilling operations until, quote, the water situation is addressed. Effective today, they are not drilling north of the site until further notice. Sunoco has been supplying bottled water and offered to pay for hotel rooms so impacted residents could shower. Oh, how kind of them. Sunoco's operation punctured the aquifer on June 22nd when the company says it notified township officials. Earlier this week, Sunoco agreed to pay for a new water line to connect residents to a public drinking water source supplied by Aqua. Turner said Aqua has agreed to have a new water main installed within 3 weeks. The $3 billion pipeline project will transport, quote, natural gas liquids 350 miles across the state, carrying propane, ethane, and butane from the Marcellus Shale fields in Ohio and western Pennsylvania to Delaware County, where it will be shipped overseas to make plastics. One thing this article left out, natural gas is full of methane. It's full of methane. And other than carbon dioxide, methane is number two in greenhouse gases. So greenhouse gases are what is contributing and is the largest factor contributing to climate change. So when natural gas pipelines go underground and there's leaks or explosions or it leaks into groundwater contamination, you're releasing methane. And here's an article from Bill McKibben. He is pretty much an environmental legend. Pro-oil people can't stand him, but I love the guy. Here we go. A big fracking lie. Here we go. The gas that doesn't leak would be piped to export facilities like Cove Point in Maryland, where the damage continues. The liquefaction process at this one Maryland facility would be so energy intensive that that one Maryland facility would be so energy intensive that the resulting pollution would make Cove Point the fourth largest source of carbon dioxide in the state, ahead of 4 coal-fired power plants in Maryland, according to the EPA and Dominion's own numbers. And this is just for processing the, quote, clean natural gas. Then the liquid gas is put on tankers, more CO2, then re-vaporized in India and Japan, then piped across Asia, more methane leakage, and finally lit on fire in New Delhi and Tokyo. When you add it all up using numbers from the EPA, the International Energy Agency, and the U.S. gas industry itself. And what he's talking about here is President Obama isn't just not fixing climate change, he's making it worse. And he's talking about one pipeline in particular. So my question is, if you already have leaks in that area from Mariner East 2 pipeline, excuse me, air conditioning. I turned the air conditioner off so you could hear me. If you already have leaks that have happened from the Mariner East 2 pipeline, this is the Appalachian Trail. It's some of the most pristine lands in America. And by the way, most objective people say there's not even a need for this natural gas. Here we go. This is from the NRDC. Not enough attention is being paid to two wholly unnecessary, risky, and costly proposed natural gas pipelines that could impact the environment and quality of life in Virginia, North Carolina, and West Virginia for decades to come. But there's plenty of time to stop them from being constructed and opportunities for citizens to engage in protecting their future. Last week, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission gave approval to the Mountain Valley and Atlantic Coast pipelines. There are currently 3 FERC commissioners with 2 seats empty, and 2 of the 3 voted to issue something called a Certificate of Public Convenience and Necessity to each pipeline. The CPCN is in essence approval from FERC to construct and operate a pipeline, although it is not the only government approval needed before construction can begin. The thing is, these pipelines are neither convenient or necessary. At the same time, they present serious risks to clean air, clean water, public lands, and local communities. For these reasons, the 3rd commissioner voted against issuing certificates. In a statement explaining her dissent, Commissioner Cheryl LaFleur expressed her concerns about the pipeline's environmental impacts, including those to water bodies, farms, landowners, and the Appalachian National Scenic Trail. Commissioner LaFleur stated, "I am particularly troubled by the approval of these projects because I believe that the records demonstrate that there may be alternative approaches that could provide significant environmental advantages over their construction as proposed. The National Environmental Policy Act, they call it NEPA, requires that agencies undertake a robust analysis of reasonable alternatives before making a decision about a proposed project. In the case of these 2 pipelines, it's been clear since the beginning that there are cleaner, safer, less destructive, and less expensive alternatives available." And that's her statement. Our list of concerns about these 2 pipelines is long. This is from the NRDC. Let's go through them. Corporate self-dealing. Both Mountain Valley Pipeline and the Atlantic Coast Pipeline involve what is known as corporate self-dealing, where companies that invest in pipelines sell the pipeline's natural gas to corporate sisters or affiliates at a price they decide. In this case, the affiliates are utilities that will pass on costs to their customers. The pipeline investors have told FERC that the pipelines are necessary because their corporate affiliates need the gas. In other words, there is no third-party independent verification that any of the gas that MVP and ACP would carry is needed. So basically, the pipeline investors tell FERC that these pipelines are necessary because the corporate affiliates need them. FERC says, "Oh, well, I'll take your word for it." It's unbelievable. It's such a scam. No documented need for either pipeline. Atlantic Coast Pipeline would deliver natural gas to Virginia and North Carolina and probably to South Carolina. Yet Dominion Energy and Duke Energy, 2 utilities in those states that said they would buy natural gas from Atlantic Coast Pipeline, have not needed any new gas in recent years and have lowered their demand estimates. If you're wondering why a company would invest billions of dollars in a pipeline that no one needs, the answer is probably that these companies will be guaranteed a hefty 14% rate of return by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. Additionally, there is also a lack of documented need for Mountain Valley Pipeline. Consumers will pay for these pipelines. In Virginia, Dominion customers would pay an additional $1.6 to $2.3 billion in electricity bills to pay for the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, customers that already pay some of the highest electric bills in the nation. And in New York, the NRDC has filed comments requesting the Public Service Commission take a closer look at Con Ed's plan to invest in the MVP, Mountain Valley Pipeline, and recover costs and a healthy profit from its customers. And if you know anything about Con Ed in New York, corrupt and a monopoly. That due diligence on the part of regulators is needed to ensure any projects are in the customer's interest. 4. No analysis of reasonable alternatives. When considering these 2 pipelines, FERC never did an analysis of clean energy alternatives, such as energy efficiency or renewable energy. If it only considered dirty energy options, FERC also did not consider how billions of dollars locked into dirty energy infrastructure for decades to come would affect the economic competitiveness of clean energy companies, or the life cycle cumulative climate impacts from more natural gas production, transmission, and usage. Number 5, no consideration of existing excess pipeline capacity. Existing pipelines have a lot of excess capacity. A 2015 report published by the U.S. Department of Energy found that the average national pipeline capacity utilization between 1998 and 2013 was 54%. In 2016 alone, FERC approved 38 new major gas pipeline projects. Number 6, there will be severe risks to clean water. Wetlands, rivers, streams, reservoirs, groundwater, and creeks will be threatened by these 2 pipelines. Some quick examples. In Pennsylvania, recent pipeline construction led to contamination of drinking water for 15 families. I read that earlier. In West Virginia, Dominion has been cited for work on 3 different pipelines that contaminated a dozen streams. There is also the considerable risk to surface waters and groundwater that will come from the additional fracking that will be induced in West Virginia if these 2 pipelines are built. Number 7, there's serious threats to air quality. Each pipeline requires compressor stations along their routes to compress natural gas so that the gas can move further along the pipeline. Compressor stations are known to emit toxic air pollutants. For example, one recent study of compressor stations in New York State found that the largest emissions include NO2, CO, VOCs, formaldehyde, and particulate matter. Exposure to these chemicals can cause respiratory and cardiovascular diseases, neurological and developmental diseases, and cancer. In addition, a multitude of threats to clean air are associated with fracking, which is expected to increase in West Virginia if the pipelines are built. Number 8, countless dangers for forests, endangered species, fish nurseries, and public lands that are used for recreation and other purposes. Both pipelines would cross beloved national forests. 3 national forests would be impacted. Forests would be clear-cut and wildlife habitat destroyed to make way for the 2 unnecessary pipelines. Mountain ridges would be raised. Particularly threatening would be construction on steep slopes, where Bent Mountain, where the tree protesters are very steep slopes. Some of the steepest in the eastern United States, where landslides and slope failures can be potentially catastrophic to human life, as well as forest ecosystems and waterways. And there are also a wide range of impacts associated with more fracking and all the waste that it generates. I mean, there's more, but that's just some of the risks. Some of the risks. So, the big oil proponents and my friend Jerry here, it's like they pretend. They pretend that these things don't leak. They pretend that they don't contaminate water. They pretend that they don't contaminate the air. They pretend that they're not, frankly, if you want to call it legal, it's a very loose definition. They're basically illegally seizing people's property. This is not what eminent domain is for. Eminent domain is for projects that actually have helped the public interest, like interstate highways, like schools, energy pipelines, where the most part are being exported so that oil companies can make money on exports, not being used for domestic use. That's not for the public use. But big oil enthusiasts, they live in their ivory tower, up in their treehouse, and they don't care. They don't care. They think oil companies should be able to do whatever the hell they want. They don't care about renewable and clean energy and the all the things that we could be tapping into right now that, by the way, can create a lot more jobs in the future than fossil fuels, which are dying. There's less and less available fossil fuels under the ground. This is big oil's last stand. And they basically bought off every last politician, to basically allow them to steal people's land. So you want to call America land of the free? Unless an oil company wants your backyard. And did you hear John say, the husband and father say, if that pipeline explodes, I'm dead. If that pipeline explodes, I'm dead. But who cares, right? So, again, 4 o'clock, the family will be making a statement. I don't know what that statement is. Obviously, I'll try to find out before then. I guess we'll find out if the mother and the daughter are going to stay up in that tree until the marshals come in and take them or not. Either way, I plan on going down there. There are other tree protests happening down there. And even if the mother and the daughter come down, I would love to interview them. I would love to interview other people that are being affected. How you could help, patreon.com/Jordan Chariton Reports. The more funds that go to that, the longer I could stay. The more funds that go to that, I could find a place to stay. At the moment, I don't have a place to stay. The more funds that go into that, we could build up more reporting, more in-the-field reporting. I do need to hire a camera person. I do need better equipment, or any equipment. Right now, I don't have equipment. We do need a travel budget. Right now I'm paying for this essentially mostly out of savings. So thank you for those of you who have subscribed. If you haven't, I hope you'll consider it. You could do $1 a month, $3 a month, $5 a month, whatever you could do. We'll be down there, hopefully get down there for the first time tomorrow. And I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see how long. Brandy just said, just signed up. Thank you, Brandy. And we'll see where the story goes. I don't know if the mother and the daughter will be staying in the tree or coming down. I don't, if they stay up there, I'm certainly staying until they get taken down. Maybe I'll grow a forest beard. I just popped a pimple, so now I have a nice red bleeding mark on my forehead, which is perfect heading down there. Don't forget to tell them how to get notified of your new videos. Jerry, what would I do without you? Yeah, if you're not pressing all notifications, make sure you press all notifications. Where you click on the bell, make sure you press all notifications so you get notified for all my videos. Would be a shame if I was down there and you didn't know when I was live. We're gonna try to go live. I don't know if the Wi-Fi situation will work up in the mountains. If not, we'll record interviews and try to upload them as soon as possible. Obviously, follow me at Jordan Chariton on Twitter for updates. Teresa Joy, who's been guest reporting on this channel, will be live this week as well. So we're trying to get things, kicked into high gear here. We do need funding. We do need you. If you can't fund, well, even if you are funding, we need you to share these videos. We need you to post, don't just share, post them on your Facebook, post them on your Twitter, post them everywhere. Videos like this, telling people, hey, go check out Jordan's YouTube. If you can, do $1 a month, $3 a month, $5 a month. Because I don't mean this arrogantly. I'm just saying, are there many people covering this story? Are there many people covering stories like it? We need to give the microphone back to the people. I believe that. It might sound like a line, but that's what we need to do. We need to give the microphone back to the people. And that's what doing these kinds of stories are. It's not, oh my God, Rudy Giuliani might have incriminated the president. Yeah, while the rest of the media follows that, this is what you can follow. Drunken Chief, PayPal. Yes, you could go to my website right now, www.jordanchariton.com. There's a link for PayPal. There is a link for Patreon. So if you prefer PayPal, there's the link. Jen just put it in there. If you prefer Patreon, patreon.com/Jordan Chariton Reports. And I believe in, there's some who ask for funding and don't actually spend it on what they say they're going to spend it on. I'm being transparent. You know exactly where the money is going. Right now, I'll show you right now. Oh, that's not it. Right now, we have 355 patrons. 355 patrons at about $1,900 a month. So, obviously, these trips are expensive. There's trains to get down there, hotels, food, all that. To hire a camera person, you have to pay them. So I got to get that number up because I don't want to go places and then be like thinking, instead of doing the reporting, thinking like, wow, I don't know if I can pay to stay here another couple of days. So thank you so much to the people who have contributed. If you can't contribute, I understand. Just share the videos and get this out. This is truly, truly a word of mouth grassroots media revolution. I'm obviously not at the Young Turks anymore, so less resources, but it's kind of exciting. It's kind of exciting to kind of start this from the ground up. And obviously, if you've been living under a rock, all of this is kind of the on-ramp to eventually launch the media network we want to launch, Status Coup. Status Coup, because we need a journalistic coup d'etat of the status quo. So, before I depart, is there any questions, comments, concerns? I am here as a vessel for you. $10 for Netflix, you could do $5 to make the world better. Damn! Tick Talik. I'm going to steal that because that is good. $10 for Netflix, you could do $5 to make the world better. And if you want to know something, I'm embarrassed to say, but do you know what I just spent $10 a month on? Do you know what I just spent $10 a month on? Not Netflix. I steal my brother's password for Netflix. I used to love worldwide wrestling as a kid, WWF, whatever, WWE now. So I was at a bachelor party. I might have had a cocktail or two, and my friend told me that the WWF has a 24/7 network now. and I could watch every WrestleMania in history. And I don't like the new stuff. I don't watch it actively, but I was like, oh my God, I love WrestleMania and all those. So I just bought WWF Network. I'm probably going to cancel it after a month because it's kind of ridiculous to spend $10 a month on WWF. But I agree with what Tic Tac said. Tic Talik said, $10 a month for network. How about $5 to make the world a better place? Ian James Chapman. Jordan, have you covered the rapid increase in LNG, liquid natural gas ports in the U.S.? I plan on it. I plan on it. Victoria Thomas. My grandmother's from Roanoke, Virginia. Fight the good fight. Stay in the tree, ladies. If I talk to them, I'll give them your message. Carl Malone. Ric Flair Marathon. Woo! I agree. I agree. So, here we go. Somebody asked for a link. Your wish is my command. There's the link. And by the way, the State Department of Environmental Protection and just imposed $355,000 in additional fines to Sunoco for Mariner East 2 pipeline. I mean, that's a drop in the bucket, but there you go. So, thank you for watching. Like I said, if you can, support me at Patreon. I will update you as I get more news on what the announcement will be at 4 o'clock at Jordan Chariton. Please, please, please share this on your Twitter, on your Facebook. And if you can, write separate posts, so brand new posts with these videos and with my Patreon. Thank you so much. Have a great day.